Mike with iHeart Knives. Today we're going to be talking about my wife's kitchen knife. This is a Dalstrong. It's a short chef's knife. I think it's like a 6-inch overall, and it works well for her. It has a pretty big handle, but as you can see, why this is specifically for her. This thing is in pretty rough shape. Tons of scratches. There's like a little bit of rust. Very mild. This is a stainless blade, but I don't know what she left on it that might have been like just mildly corrosive. But right here you can kind of see it. So also, I don't know what happened to my my normal eye protection, so I'm gonna have sunglasses, but make sure if you're gonna use a belt grinder to always wear personal protection. But I'm not a professional, so whatever you see me do, don't do yourself unless you have an idea of what you're doing. I'm gonna go at it with a Trizact 400 grit, or equivalent 400. This is the 845 Trizact, so that's what their 400 grit equivalent is. I'm going to see what it'll do. It'll definitely take the scratches and rust out. I'm debating if I want to thin the blade a little bit too. I'm not sure. She's a little rough. Sometimes she'll cut on the granite and stuff, so I don't want it to chip out. I might just leave it the way it is and then go over to surface conditioning belts. I'll go to the red Scotch-Brite and then the gray Scotch-Brite just to mellow out the scratches, and probably going to clean up a little bit of the handle too, because it could use it. There's scratches and stuff on it, and I think I'll probably just even out like the metal to wood transitions here. So we'll see what happens. Just kind of flying by the seat of my pants at this point, so I'm not really sure what this is going to turn out to be for a video, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to go down to 220. In fact, this belt is doing a good job with keeping the heat really low, which can be tough sometimes with the Grizzly because it spins so quick. It's not a variable. So, you know, it took out most of the scratches. There's still a few areas that are deeper than others. So it wasn't an amazingly ground blade, but no offense to Dalstrong, but sometimes you get what you pay for, and it's not a real, you know, it's not like an expensive knife by any means. But that was when my wife was first learning how to use kitchen knives, and she wasn't allowed near any of mine. So now she's allowed to use some of them, but the carbon steel ones she's still not allowed to use because she forgets to dry them off in time. So I'm going to lower to the A30 Trizact, which is equivalent to 220, and see if we can get some of these scratches out a little easier. Alright, 220 took care of it. So now it's got a nice satin finish. I also smoothed out the top line, the steel to the handle. I think this is Paca wood or something. So any like scratches that are in the wood itself, I'll either hand sand out or, excuse me, we'll see if the Scotch-Brite will take it out, but Scotch-Brite should take out a lot of the stuff. Scotch-Brite usually hides a lot of sins. That's what's so great about it. There's still like a couple like little rogue scratches here or there, but Scotch-Brite should clean it up for the most part. Again, this is not, you know, if this was like a $300 kitchen knife that, you know, that was being used, you know, in proper conditions or something, I'd take the time to do it, but it's not. This thing is going to be cut on granite, and, you know, it's not going to be on a wood cutting board all the time, that's for sure. So I'm not going to go crazy spending time on it, but just figured I'd bring you guys along to show you how I cleaned it up. So I'm going to pause right here and just throw the Scotch-Brite on. So I'm just going to pause it quick and then come right back. We're going to go over to the red Scotch-Brite belt. And if you're ever using a Scotch-Brite belt, take your time with them. They can be dangerous. They're more dangerous than like your standard belt. Especially if you're going like edge leading into the belt. I had a razor get flung the other day. I'll show you what it did. Took a chunk out of the razor. And I was fortunate enough that it didn't come my way. And I also keep, I'll show you quick. So I also keep magnetic strips that you should be able to see. Here, I'll lower you. So right there, right here, you can see there's magnetic strips. and they're incredibly strong. And it helps grab some of the steel particles. And if that thing wasn't there, I don't know where it would have ended up, but that magnet grabbed the piece of metal that broke off, and you know, probably could have been worse. So I was fortunate for that. So always be careful if you guys are using a Scotch-Brite belt, and even when you're not using Scotch-Brite, just a regular belt, still be careful. So alright, I'm going to throw this mask and eye protection back on, and we'll go with the Scotch-Brite. Scotch-Brite makes a freaking mess though, that's the only thing about it. So you can see now we got a real nice clean satin finish. It does leave like a powder residue on it, so it might look like fingerprinty, you know, just because there is residue. Once you wash the blade, you're good to go though. So it is real shiny. And then the handle and the steel here, that could be cleaned up a little more. You know, it could probably be hand sanded, but I don't know if I'm going to go through that. If I do, I'm probably not going to bring you guys along for it. I'll probably just cut the video right now. But yeah, I just want to show you that you know, kitchen knives can be basically refinished. And oh, you know, another thing too, you probably saw me put the bottom of the bolster on the Scotch-Brite, and I just let's see, get this thing to focus. I just knocked it down a little bit because if you don't lower the bolster and you just keep sharpening the blade, eventually you'll end up with a recurve. So you have two choices. You can either put a sharpening choil here. Three choices. You can either put a sharpening choil here, you can lower the bolster and just keep lowering it as you sharpen, or you can make a recurve blade out of it. And I think the easiest way is just to knock the bolster down. It seems to be the best way to go with it. So, yeah. That's my wife's kitchen knife. Again, it's a Dalstrong, I think 6-inch. It's not a bad knife at all. The steel's pretty good. It holds a decent edge actually. But yeah, just wanted to show you guys how it can be slightly refinished and made to look a little bit nicer. So, alright guys, this is Mike with I Heart Knives. Go ahead and leave a comment, subscribe if you already haven't, and thank you guys. Thank you all for subscribing if you are subscribed, and thanks for all the inquiry for the strops. I'll be getting those out to you guys within like the next day or two. I'm going to be working on a lot of it this weekend. So again, this is Mike with I Heart Knives. Thank you all, and I'll see you on the next one.